Hi guys, it's Tracy here. I'm going to be scrapbooking using the Studio Calico Elmwood Park and Monkey Bars kit. I'm going to be doing these pictures of my daughter and I on the Ferris wheel. And so first I'm just looking for some colors that I think fit with really my mood. I'm not really picking out pictures that fit the picture, but everything that I don't like for this layout is going over to the left, and then the potential keepers for this layout are going over to the right. And I'm mostly looking for a background picture paper, but as I go, I'm picking out pieces that I think might work well with the layout. And so pretty early on, I settle on that Jelly Bean Soup Coconut Lime yellow background paper. It's yellow with tiny little white dots, and I really love it. It's very sunshiny, very, um, you know, happy. So good for this kind of a photo. And I've picked out some pattern papers that I think look nice with this yellow. And I'm just kind of having a look through the embellishments that come in the kit and trying to decide what potential pieces I might use. And I picked out that screen stamp because I haven't used that yet, so I wanted to try to figure out a way to use it in this layout. And I knew right away that my title was going to be up, up, and away, so I just wanted to take out the thickers that I would use for that. That's not how they're going to end up being, but just to kind of have them out. I really love the denim. Blah, sorry, I really love the denim, and so I just wanted to have that in mind as I was picking other things that I'd need to kind of find something dark to balance with those letters. And so now I'm going to go ahead and put that screen stamp on the background. I don't love making background stamps with a small, like making a big background pattern with a small stamp, just because it's it's a bit it's a lot of work for what it is, but I really did want to use this stamp. I kind of figured I took it more as a challenge than like if I didn't have that stamp sitting in the kit, I probably would have never put a background stamp on this layout. So that's just a nice example of how a kit can sometimes stretch your scrapbooking in different directions, because I do like how it looks with the stamps. And you'll notice that I didn't really care too much about the center of those stamps. They were, because I knew that they were going to be covered, I just wanted the edges to be showing. So I'm going to finally take that manufacturer strip off, and I'm just writing down my supplies as I go. And I'm kind of experimenting. At first I was going to make this layout be quite layered, and that's why I did some stamping on the back, but I ended up not going with such a layered look. There's always some layering on it, but I'm just using my paper bag, which I almost always use up the paper bags from my kits, just because I really like to map my photos on a paper bag. I don't know what it is, but I just really, really love that. I do it a lot in lots of my layouts. And so, for a while I was trying to not do it because I thought it looked repetitive, and then I thought, well, I really like the look, so I should just do what I like and not worry about, whether somebody else looks at my book and thinks it looks repetitive. So I am now, what am I doing? Oh yes, I just put a tiny bit of that screen down in the corner because I figured that the title would be up higher than what it ended up being, but I wanted to have some balance on the bottom. So now I'm thinking about doing the up, up, and away being right there. I'm thinking about doing some misting on this layout, and that's why I have my little Mr. Huey's sampler out. But I think I decided not to, yeah, I didn't splatter at all on this. And I only had one A in that font, but I really liked that font for the word away, so I just cut off the top of a D. And now my problem, of course, is that the away looks squished up there. And it kind of like draws your eye to the wrong part of the picture. Like there's nothing interesting up there to look at. So see how the up, up, and away just draws your eye up into that corner, and all the interesting elements of the pictures are down well below that. So that's why I will eventually move that title, because I don't like how that's going. So there, I just cut that with my silhouette. I didn't bother recording that part because it's just boring. And I used the Shoreline collection because I just wanted a red, but I didn't want it to be quite solid red, so I chose that very slight pattern. And then I also recut the word. I kind of went in with the eraser and took out the whole balloon, and I recut the word fun. And I was just in such a hurry that I didn't bother cutting off those little strings on the above the word above the letters, and so I'll just cut those off with my pen, where with my that would be impressive. I will cut them off with my scissors. And then I'm just doing some outlining. Sorry, some of this is happening off the screen, but I'm just cutting off those little strings, and I'm using my Zig two-way glue pen, which I love to use for any kind of die cut pieces, little sticking little things to other little things. And so I just overlapped the denim fun, and that was from a piece of paper from the kit. There was one authentique paper that had a lot of kind of dark denim on it, and so I just cut from a piece of that. And I'm outlining around. I almost always outline around my cuts. I used to do that with my Cricut as well, just because it kind of, I don't know, I just like the look. And now I'm trying to experiment. Sorry, some of this is happening off screen because I forgot to zoom out, but I'm trying to figure out, and here I'm deciding to change where the title is, which poses me some trouble because I wanted the hot air balloon to be high. In some ways I wanted it to be higher than the title because it's one thing that, like, it's one of the few things that can float. Like, oftentimes you want to anchor things, but something like a hot air balloon you don't have to anchor, so I wanted to take advantage of that and have it be up high. Kind of like I like cars to be down low, and I like balloons to be, and planes and clouds to be up high. So I'm trying to decide if I'm going to make a bigger embellishment that might be a square, a rectangle, or some shape, and have the hot air balloon on top of it, or if I'm going to just have the hot air balloon be its own element. And I really liked the look of that book paper. It actually had a sky in the background of the text, but it was too old. It was too yellowed looking, so it didn't fit with the rest of the look of the layout. And so now here I am thinking about making that be the embellishment. And I can't decide, so I'm going to go and think about it for a little while and work on this title because I did know that I wanted it to go there at this point. So my video is sticking here, so it's hard to narrate. Sorry, guys. Here I'm just cutting out different shapes of the pattern paper that I knew I wanted to use, and I'm going to kind of stack them up above and below the photos so that it makes one continuous strip between those papers and the photos along the right-hand side of my layout. And they're slightly overlapped, but they're not really, really layered. And so I'm just going to overlap them a little bit, each one, and going to put some washi tape there just for a little bit of interest, and gives my title a place to attach to the rest of the layout instead of, I did want it to be sort of hanging out there because of the idea of floating up and away, because that's kind of how it feels when you're on a Ferris wheel, and I knew I was going to use a hot air balloon. So yeah, I'm just going to do some outlining here, and I'm using a blue Stettler fine liner pen, which is, I think it's called Tri Plus. It has like 3 sides. It's a 3-sided pen. It won't roll away on you, which is kind of nice. And I really like the color. It's purpley blue, and it gives a really nice line. I love those Stettler pens. I talk about them a lot. I love Stettler. So now at this point, I've finally decided what I'm going to do with this hot air balloon is I'm going to do what I wanted to do from the beginning, which is to back it on a piece of craft, which for me it was easiest to just back it on this paper bag because it's so thin and easy to cut, and it was already on my table. So now I'm just kind of taking a look at where I might want to put it, and it's going to take me a while to decide on that. So I'm just going to have a look at these border strips while I think about that. I'm going to have a look at these crepe paper ones, and I really like the clouds, and so I'm going to cut out a couple of those clouds with the idea that I might put the clouds layered over top of the balloon. And while I have them out, I'm looking at some other crepe paper stickers and trying to decide. Now that little tiny zigzag piece that is in red is one of the offcuts from the zigzags in the hot air balloon. And then I decided on that little blue and white border. Those are from Michelle. I'm pretty sure they're made by K& Company. I know K& Company makes borders like that, so I'm guessing that's who that's by, but it could be by someone else. And that gray trim is from Sherry. And I don't know if that's homemade trim or if it's store-bought trim, but it's really, really nice. I love the texture and dimension that it adds to a layout. So I just tucked it under those borders. And again, I'm thinking about where I'm going to put that balloon and thinking about putting some clouds around it. And again, I can't quite decide on that, so I'm going to go back to the other elements and I'm going to put on the trim. And it was a little too floofy, so I just put some adhesive under there just to help it behave a little bit. I didn't want it stuck down too much, but I just wanted it not quite so sticking up either. And now I'm going to add some sewing. And I'm going to sew over the border sticker there. And while I have my machine out, I decided to go ahead and sew over a bunch of the other pieces of paper with various stitches. So I put some zigzags and some straight stitches and just adding some texture to the page. It doesn't add a whole lot because it's white thread and there's white lines in the paper and stuff, but it does add some texture and a little bit of interest. And I like to add things to look at for people who want to look closely at the layout. When you look at it from afar, it doesn't make any difference at all, but if you look closely, it does make a difference. So I'm just doing that, and I love my little sewing machine for this because it's easy to take out and put away. I keep it right under my workspace so that I can pull it up, and it's already plugged in and everything. So, and that's a Kenmore half-size sewing machine. So now I had held on to a couple little scraps that I wanted to put down in that corner. So I did that, and now I'm left with the titles done, the pictures done, the layering's done. Gotta address this balloon. So here I am, and what I decided to do is I put way too much glue on, and you can see the glue there underneath the felt, and I'm not sure if that glue does dry to clear, so I might not have actually seen it, but I ended up covering it up. You'll see in a second. And so here I'm just cutting my dimensional adhesive so that it'll fit on those tiny little letter stickers, because if I'm going to pop up the balloon, I have to pop up those letter stickers too. Or they're not stickers, those little letters. So now I'm putting the balloon in front of the clouds, and my idea was that I was going to put that other cloud on there, but I thought once I cut the edge off of the balloon, that cloud is going to look weird. So what I decided to do instead is make the cloud go over the balloon, and instead of taking it all apart and redoing it, I just decided to put another cloud on top because I have a couple of those, so I can spare one extra one for, it's a bit of a waste of the bottom one, but that's okay. Sometimes that happens in scrapbooking. So now I'm just kind of deciding where I'm going to place this. This layout needs something else, and so I'm using the buttons as a way of kind of deciding what else I want to put on and where else I'm going to put it. I knew I needed more than just buttons because the buttons alone look kind of floaty, right? So I went into my stash and found those hexagon shapes. They were from a previous Studio Calico kit, and I just keep little die cut leftovers in a little drawer on my desk. And so I put those on, and now I'm just going to sew on the buttons. I'm not a great sewer, and I don't love sewing buttons on. I would so much rather just glue a button on than sew it. But for this layout, it already had sewing on it. So to me, it kind of, if you're sewing, you're sewing. So I should sew on the buttons. And so now I'm just going to outline those hexagons. I had already outlined one. I think I must have not turned on the video at one point. I think I forgot to turn it back on at one point. So that's why you missed some of the first hexagon being done. And now I'm just going to sew on the buttons on that top hexagon. And I'm just using Stampin' Up! White floss. I love their white floss. I also love their linen thread. And the last button down there is going to just layer over top of that zigzag, which came from the chevrons on the hot air balloon. Tie that button, and I waste a lot of thread when I'm sewing. And then that thicker was not sticking because it was on that shiny, that's actually not real washi tape, it's like a waxy, it's not papery, it's a waxy tape, so I had to glue that ampersand on. And now I needed one more element, and I thought some word stickers on those hexagons would be good. And of course, it's great to have lots of word stickers, but the downside of it is that it takes a long time to find the word that you're looking for when you've got so much to look through. But I really love these black on yellow, and these are from Prima. They actually come with letter stickers, and I just cut the word parts off because I keep all my letter stickers together and I didn't want words in there. I'd forget that they were in there, so I just cut them off and put them in my drawer with my word stickers. And now I need to do the date, so I use my Dear Lizzie date roller stamp. I can't remember which one I put. You'll see it in a second. And so there you get to see close up that stitching does make a difference. And sorry, I'm moving it around a lot there. The title and the hot air balloon, and there's those Prima letter stickers and that beautiful trim from Sherry. Thank you, Sherry. And there's the layout. So thanks for watching, guys.